We've got big news out of PSA, plus Panini's got a brand new product coming out, and I gave you one of my spiciest takes of the year on my last Data Dive. We're gonna debate it all now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Cards on the Table, and what a pleasant surprise for all of you this week because no Jeff, I'm in the captain seat, no Doug, you get Carter, you get Ryan, two guys who are far more intelligent, and we've got some great topics today to talk to you about, so we're going to get right into it. I gave you that little teaser, and the first big piece of news, I'm really excited about this. PSA has announced that they are coming out with Grader's Notes. They're starting it out on the Express level. We know that BGS has always had the subgrades. People like that level of transparency. CGC has it on comics. I'm not sure if they have it on cards too, but I know it's on comics. Ryan Hogue actually teased this on the Jeff Wilson podcast a few months ago that they were going to be rolling out Grader's Notes. So it's now out at the Express level and up. So that starts at $129 per card. For cards valued up to $25, that's the 5-day turnaround or faster. It sounds like they anticipate making this available on lower levels in the future, but this is how they're starting out. I believe it was for cards submitted mid-June or later. You can now see those results in the app. I think this is huge for transparency and really exciting for people submitting their cards. There's just one big caveat, and that's that you can't see it when you look up the cert number. It's not public. You can only see it if you submitted the card in the app. So the notes are in there. They'll tell you corners, right ding, dimple on the surface. They give you that kind of transparency. I think it's really exciting. I hope they'll eventually consider making it public. I'm not sure what the rationale is around that, but I want to know what you guys think about this. I'm going to start with you this time, Ryan.
All right. So I think it's great. I mean, I think the whole reason Beckett has been doing so well or been stayed alive at this point is the subgrades. I mean, people are chasing the black labels, the 10, 10, 10, 10. With PSA having the Grader's Notes, I did not know that the collectors can't see it, just the person who submitted it. I think that's a huge L on their part.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I think that everyone should see what the graders saw.
Yep.
But I'm good with it as long as it doesn't affect the turnaround times.
Okay.
Did they get the grader capacity? Like, do they have enough graders to amp up having to put notes for every single card that they're grading?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably why they're starting it on the 5-day turnaround ones. You know, much smaller pool of submissions on that 1.2 million cards per month that they're pumping out. So I don't know how they'll be able to scale that. We know, I think that's been the big reason they haven't done it till now, is it does take time, extra time to do that. I don't know, Carter, what's your reaction to this overall?
I mean, initially I was really disappointed that not everyone can see it. That was the biggest thing I saw when I read about this. And but I'm going to be on the understanding side. This is the beginning. Let's understand that, right? This is just the start of it. They're going to grow this. They're going to expand on this further, I think. But the overall transparency, I mean, the fact that they're starting this now is such a big W. And PSA, we've been talking about it multiple times on the show in the past couple months, how they've just been advancing so far ahead of any of the other grading companies. So this is exciting news. Hopefully it expands further in the future. Hopefully this expands where everyone can see it. Hopefully you can soon, buy a card at Cards HQ and you'll be able to see the Grader's Notes, right? But unfortunately, that's just not how it's going to be initially, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, do you think this is something where, as a seller, let's say you had a PSA 9 and you have the Grader's Notes on the app, is it something where a seller would be motivated to show what's wrong with the card, or is that something you think they'd want to conceal? Are there cases where a dimple isn't as offensive as the centering? Like, what do you think about the transparency and what it means to a buyer?
I mean, it just depends on the seller and how transparent they are with their cards. I think a lot of people will try to hide it. I think us personally here at Cards HQ, we would be willing to show it. But I mean, honestly, I think when people grade cards here at Cards HQ, people ask, how did this get a 9? And we're looking through a plastic case. We have no idea.
Yeah.
We didn't look at it before they submitted it. And I mean, now they will have that availability to see that.
Yeah, there's still some kind of open questions for me, specifically like, what happens if you do crack and resub, just from a PR perspective? Like they're entering a new level of transparency. They could previously kind of hide behind just a number, and then, it is what it is, and say all the time that if you crack and resub the card, it's going to get the same grade. We know that's not always the case. Well, now you have Grader's Notes. The new slabs, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few moments, but the new slabs, even the ones prior to the newest releases, were notably more difficult to crack. If you're able to get those things out of Fort Knox and you crack a PSA 9 and it's set on the Grader's Notes, surface dimple and edge wear on back bottom or something like that, you crack it and you resubmit it and you get it back and it's a PSA 10 and it doesn't have those Grader's Notes, that starts getting a little dicey for like the company. So I don't know how worried they are about that or not. nobody's going to compete with them. It's not going to ultimately impact people's image of PSA, I don't think. I'm really happy they're moving in this direction of transparency, and we'll see how it continues to play out. So
I will tell you this, the Pokemon collectors, a lot of them want them to play, and we just got a Pokemon order back. We had a PSA 9. Customers asked me to crack it. I cracked it, and I damaged the card. They're impossible to crack now. So I think if I feel that slab and it's the LR1 or LR1 Plus, wherever they're calling it now, I probably wouldn't even crack it.
Yeah, there's going to have to be new techniques, maybe a hacksaw or something. I don't know. All right, so speaking of awesome opportunities and great things, PWCC Weekly Auction, we talk about this every week. There is a card. I always love the cards on those auctions, and I've always got a good one, but this one is legit. It's 1997, Metal Universe, PMG, red to 100, Grant Hill. It's a PSA 7, which is a pretty high grade for those cards. These do not come up often. I've got a big Grant Hill PC. I might try to make a play at this card. We'll see. It'll probably go out of my budget, but I'm still excited to see where it finishes. Carter, what are you looking at?
It's a cool card, Teapot, but I like PSA 10s. So I chose out a 2020 Topps Transcendent Shohei Ohtani Auto Super Fractor 1 of 1. Unreal card. It's live right now on PWCC. It's a crazy card to look at.
Okay, Ryan.
So I have two. I went with the 1951 Bowman Mantle PSA 3.5.
Okay.
We just recently bought one of those for Cards HQ. It didn't even last a day.
Wow.
Also bought a 52. I mean, which one's the rookie? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's debatable.
I think 51's the rookie. 52 is the iconic one. Both are great cards. Definitely good choices. You want to go check out PWCC, go to pwccmarketplace.com. And if you use promo code SCI, you get to vault your cards for free. They've always got awesome cards, paying out strong to sellers for consignment. So check them out at pwccmarketplace.com and go vault your cards with them. All right, so I had fun with my data dive this last week, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. Once in a while, I got to come out with a spicy hot take, and I was looking at the data. We're coming up on the national. Football cards are going to be hot. I was trying to figure out who do I want to go after. And I saw Trevor Lawrence, and his prices are still pretty high. Trevor Lawrence prices are still pretty high. I'm going to lay it all out. I'm calling it. I think it's do or die this season for Trevor Lawrence card prices. I did all the data. He's not been a very good NFL quarterback so far statistically. I think if he doesn't finish as a top 8 quarterback this season with a playoff berth, we're going to see his card prices potentially come down half of what they are today. And if he's not a top 5 quarterback by 2026, that's the end. There's not a scenario in history that I know of any quarterback who was a number 1 draft pick who after his 4th season wasn't considered a top tier quarterback who is able to retain their card value. It's just not a thing. So I laid out all the data. Carter, I know you're a big Jags fan. You're probably a T-Law fan. He just got his big old payday. Do you love the contract? And more importantly, are you bullish on T-Law? Tell me why I'm wrong.
I think T-Law is going to have a great year. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And if you don't believe that, then you should be buying Mac Jones based on this.
That's what I said.
On this discussion,
Mac
right?
Jones and Sam Darnold.
But I think he's going to have a great year. I think the team's heavily improved on the offensive side and the defensive side. I just think, we've seen it year over year. A guy has a good run early in their career, and then they kind of have a down year. I think that's what's happened. Do I think his prices are still pretty too high in the card world? Yeah, definitely. I think they're way too high. I think they're not reasonable. For what he's done and for what he's accomplished, I think there's some things that are baked in. Just like we've seen some recent quarterbacks in recent years, like Josh Allen, right? He had Super Bowl value baked into him a couple years back. So it's just trends, it's hype, and I do think he'll come down. And yeah, he has to do a lot for his value today. But as a fan of what I think he's going to do long term, I think he's going to be a great quarterback. But he's kind of, to me, he's definitely close to the ceiling right now, value wise.
So 1 year from now, you think T-Law's prices are going to be the same, higher, or lower?
Same or lower.
Okay. All right.
They will not be better.
So you think he's gonna have a great season, but Jeff did mention he wanted to tell me all the reasons why I was wrong about this, so he can't do that. But he's put his stake in the ground that he thinks I'm completely wrong. Ryan, what do you think?
I think T-Law is already Mac Jones. They're the same quarterback. They're the same quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, completion percentage, 63% for Trevor, 66% for Mac. QBR, 85% for Trevor, 85.8 for Mac. Interceptions, 39 for Trevor, 36 for Mac. Granted, Mac had 6 less games, and he was battling with Bailey Zapp.
Yep.
But I think both these quarterbacks won't see the new Jaguars stadium. I think if you're a Jaguars fan, you got to start investing in Carson Beck. You got to start investing
big contract blow.
Sanders. You got to start investing in the next class.
I think no matter what, the Jags, unfortunately for Trevor Lawrence, aside from this massive contract, are locked into him for the next few years, no matter what. And they're going to see what happens with him. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I know you're a Jags fan. I'm a Lions fan, and that's been painful for everybody that plays there for you. It makes people retire early, literally. But I don't know. They need good coaching. They need some weapons around him. He's got some. Can he do anything with it? We'll see. But I think he's got to get into that big conversation. So let us know down in the comments what you think. Call me crazy. You can say all kinds of mean things about me and say all kinds of great things about Trevor Lawrence, or let me know if you think that I am right. Okay. We've got you two guys here about Cards HQ. We got to talk about Cards HQ. First of all, 10% off of supplies right now using code SUPPLIES at cardshq.com. So that's all supplies, top loaders, mags, one-touches, things like that. So you can get a great discount on that. You've also got a lot of this inventory now on the website, which has been doing great. Things have been flying. I've been looking for cards and missing them. I was at the checkout recently and saw this awesome Phillip Rivers Superfractor, finest Superfractor. I was like, oh, I want to buy this. Oh, it just sold on the website. So you guys are moving inventory. That's really exciting. You got to check out cardshq.com. And certainly if you're in the area, come down here. Trade nights every second Saturday of the month.
Yep.
So
next one's July 13th.
Beautiful. So check us out there. We'll be at the National. These guys will be buying at the National. Make sure to stop by and say hi. Cards HQ. Happy to have you on the show, both of you, and happy to be working here. We've got two great mailbag topics, I think, here. The first one is an interesting one, and that is Panini's coming out with a new Prizm product. So always mixed reviews when they come out with like yet another Prizm or another optic or another whatever. They're calling it Prizm Deca. We don't have a ton of information about it yet. It was teased out on Beckett and through Panini. It looks like essentially they're remaking 2012 Prizm as a standalone product with obviously modern current players. It looks like it's going to be a 300-player checklist just like 2012 Prizm was. We don't know which athletes, if it's going to be only current players or it'll still have all-time greats. New parallels, new inserts, presumably one-of-ones, including a black, which did not exist in 2012 Prizm basketball. Gold to 10 was the lowest. We've seen this before from manufacturers. We've seen Topps Archive and Heritage. We've seen Chronicles. We've seen things like that. Fleer Retro and the Decade of Excellence cards, which we have some about here for Jordan. What do you guys think of this when the manufacturers come out and sort of just redo things? Is it a bit like Disney overdoing it, just remaking every movie? Or do you get excited when something like this comes out? I'm going to start with you, Carter.
Traditionally, I'm not a fan of it.
Okay.
I'm absolutely not a fan of it. But in today's circumstances, I think we should embrace it by Panini because they are on their way out of football and basketball right now, right? And so they're just trying to send everything they can out there into the world. And it's a cool set. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think people are actually going to be excited about this. I know there's going to be mixed, comments about this set releasing, but I think we just all have to accept that Panini knows their fate at this point, and they're just trying to send out as much as they can and, be exciting as they can and try to put out products that, a lot of the newer collectors are going to be excited about. And I think this is going to excite some people. So I'm going to embrace it. It's actually kind of exciting. Traditionally, though, I don't like this. I think it goes away. It kind of hurts regular Prizm, right? But in a year where you don't have Wemby autos, you don't have Brandon Miller autos, you don't have the top two, rookies, like, they got to push out more than that. And that's what they're doing here. And so I think you got to embrace it. You got to accept it. I think this is just how you have to understand that this is how it's going to be until Panini's fully out the door on these licenses.
Okay. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm actually really excited for it. I came in today. The breakers were asking for it. The retail staff was like, hey, we need this product.
Yeah.
Go and find it. I'm going to go find it. I do think that they are just overprinting. I think it makes more confusing for collectors, especially new collectors.
Yeah.
Which one is Prizm? Like, which one is Wemby's rookie card? Is it the Prizm?
Yeah.
Is it the Monopoly Prizm? Is it the Deca Prizm? Is it the Optic? It does make it more confusing, but going back to the 2012 set, that's iconic.
Yeah.
They've already done it with inserts in different Prizm products, which, I think that was good enough. But to do a whole set, it'll be cool. I wish they paid tribute to the old set and just stopped at gold and maybe didn't do the flashy inserts.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a good product.
So the big problem I have with it is they've already done this in Prizm. They have Prizm flashbacks of 2012 Prizm in the Prizm products. So they already did that. And they did it, I think, multiple years now, like still of 2012. So you have those from other products. This just is confusing for sellers, for buyers. People are going to list these wrong on eBay. That's going to mess up market movers' data. There's a whole host of issues with it. I'm not totally opposed to it, depending on the execution. It'll be cool to get some of the newer players in the league in that design, which is one of the better Prizm designs from over the years. I don't know, kind of just, I wish they wouldn't overdo it. It's kind of like when they put Prizm in Chronicles, which is typically, they did like the Prizm Black, but which confused then with like Prizm Black one-of-ones from Prizm. That gets really confusing. I think it's going to be a very buzzy product. I think it'll be really popular. mixed emotion. I'll probably pick up some on the secondary market, if I'm being honest. Okay, so our final mailbag topic. And by the way, if you want to submit your questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments for next week or subsequent episodes. We love reviewing those and taking them into consideration. This is a topic that Jeff reported on his personal Instagram a week ago, was swirling around YouTube and different content creators. Flow lines with the new PSA slabs. So that was another thing that Ryan Hogue talked about. He teased it with Jeff on the show a few months ago. They came out and said, we've got these new slabs. The actual holders, the acrylic holders are new. They're heavier, new security features, more secure, impossible to crack out, all of these things. They started circulating them, hitting the market. People were showing them, weighing them on Instagram Reels and things. And now they're realizing there's these little like hairline cracks in the top corners of the slab, which can look like a scratch or damage on the card. It's not. It's a problem with the slab. It's been about a week of that kind of hitting the news, and Jeff was even showing off his recent grading submission. And PSA came out and they said, we're pulling the plug. We're not going to keep submitting circulating these. We're pulling the plug. We're going to pause production. We're going to go back to the prior slabs until we can figure this out. It sounds like they already have some leads because they're projecting like late July into August to get this fixed, at which point they're offering to reholder any of the current ones for free if you send them your cards. What do you guys think about this in general, Ryan? Like, was this a big deal to you in the first place? Should people be bent out of shape about it? Was it a minor thing? Like, what's your take of this? And do you think PSA is taking the right course of action?
Well, I mean, they mentioned it's not actual damage to the card. It just appears to be a crack.
Yeah.
I think they did the right thing. They caught it. Why they didn't catch it in quality assurance, I don't know.
Yeah, they said it was a 3-year process to get here. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, why didn't they catch it there? But I mean, if they now notice that it's an issue and they're taken care of, you can resubmit your cards and get them, reholdered. I think they did the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. Carter, what about you?
Well, I think it's exciting. They came out and clearly said that if you've purchased a card, like if you purchase a card on eBay with flow lines, you can still send it in for free. So it's not like the situation with the Grader Notes where you have to submit it. So I'm really happy with that. They're taking care of it here. I don't think it was a huge deal, but at the same time, we wait months for a lot of our cards, right? We send them off, we pay money, and then they come in like that. It can get frustrating. And then, some people just aren't as knowledgeable. Some people aren't even going to see this news, right? So, if you see someone at a card show, you see they have flow lines on the slabs, let them know, because I don't think a lot of people are going to see this news initially, especially it being a free service to reholder.
My reaction to it when I originally saw it was simultaneously, that's not that big of a deal to me, but also was what some other people were saying, which is, well, PSA is supposed to be the Cadillac. It's supposed to be the cream of the crop. You're paying a premium, especially if you have upcharges and things. You shouldn't be getting this on your slabs. And so they did the right thing. They're saying, we're going to make it right. We made a mistake. That's what I always look for, whether it's Fanatics, PSA, or any of the other companies in the hobby. Just make it right. They're trying to do that, and I think they'll do that. So that pretty much wraps up today's episode for us. Let us know what your thoughts are down below. Do you think I'm crazy about T-Law? What do you think of all the PSA news? And do you like Prizm Deca? Make sure to go to PWCCmarketplace.com. Use code SCI, and you'll get to vault your cards for free. Check out all their great listings on their weekly and premier auctions, and download Market Movers as well while you're at it. Until next time, happy investing, keep on collecting, and make sure to have fun.